Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. It is super nice to meet you.
It's
I'm
nice to meet you too.
I'm so glad you're helping us with this. Thank you. I'm going to record this because I forgot to record the first one, if that's okay
Okay.
with you. Okay. You are so kind, and thank you for. And I don't. Nobody else specifically RSVP'd, but we can give people a second to. So I'm. Let's introduce. I'm Sue, and you are Leilani. You're a current student.
Yes, I'm a freshman.
I love that you're doing this. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for this opportunity.
I think it's going to be fun. I need to remember to email your muster chair back. He said he can feed you if you
Okay.
want. And his name is David, and I'll send y'all the content, the connection info.
Okay.
I'm making a note. And let's see, you found your muster, you know where it is, you
Yeah.
know how to get there and get in, and they know that they'll let you in and all that. So all right, good deal. And I'm just going to kind of go ahead and I work at the Association of Former Students. I work in the communication department, and most of what I do is I write stories that we put in the magazine and on the web. And we've done the history of muster. But we do a bunch of stuff about Aggie traditions, and we do silly things sometimes, like we did a video about how to spin your Aggie ring and why it inverts when you spin it. So I don't know if you ever, when you get yours, or you can come over here and we'll demonstrate for you. But you can spin it, and the physics mean it will invert while it's spinning on the table. So anyway, so we do some silly stuff too, but it's all about bringing Aggies together. And what are you studying?
Studying public health.
Oh, very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
I was told that I shouldn't ask people what they're thinking about doing because they don't know yet. But do you have any thoughts?
I was thinking about pediatric nursing.
Oh, that's awesome. That is
Yes.
awesome. And I will tell you a little bit about your muster. The Brazos muster is pretty big, um, and uh, and you should feel free to roam all over the room and just get whatever pictures you need wherever you're going to be. And I'll do this. I'll do this little run through these slides real quick. Let's see. So let me. I'm gonna make this full screen. And then I'm gonna, whoop, nope, hang on. Technology, not my friend. Okay, I'm gonna do screen share first, and then I'm gonna make it big. That's me. Share, good, and now I can make it big. Okay, so I was telling the other group I'm just so thrilled at how many people have signed up to volunteer with this. I don't know if we'll be able to do this next year or not, but I'm very excited about it. And we've got just such a range of people and such a range of places, and I just love this. Um, and I checked today, we're at 280 musters, and they are all over the world. And that is, any two Aggies who find themselves together, that's a muster. The basic thing is you get together, you find another Aggie, and you talk about being Aggies a little bit. So you can muster anywhere. Now, a lot of the local musters, almost all of them, in fact, do have a roll call, and they'll do candles. All of the musters everywhere, including the campus muster, are uh, uh, what was I saying? Almost all of them will do the candle ceremony, but none of them call the entire roll. All the musters call just their local Aggies. And also, if you go to a local muster and you have somebody you want to say here for, the muster chair, you can say, "Can y'all add this name?" And they probably will. It's a little more complicated with the campus muster, but it's basically the same thing. There's the student muster is serving the student community. So the names that they call at the muster on campus tend to be people from the campus. So it's current, if we've lost any, but we did lose current students this year, sadly, I think. But we would call those names. We would call professors or staff that we lost. If you are part of the campus community, if you're a student and you have an immediate family member, they can call them your family member at that muster because that's the muster you're at. So anyway, um, and all the different musters are sort of different levels of formality. Some of them, honestly, are like a fish fry next to a lake, and some of them are let's meet at a Tex-Mex restaurant. And we did this graphic a few years ago to show how many of them there are all over. I mean, this is just Texas. This is, so people may not have to drive as far as they think they might have to go to a muster. And the association does a ton of stuff every year to support this. Well, in fact, we're kind of the organization that does the off-campus musters. Each local club, and that's all volunteers, and they put together their muster and they keep their club running year round. But we provide the lists. We send out invitations to people. We get a ton of questions here, and we try to answer all those questions. If you want to chair a muster somewhere out in the world, we give you a checklist and a bunch of support things that you can use. Like we give you social media graphics, we give you, how to publicize your muster, and we're going to send out emails to the Aggies in your area. We provide muster speakers. I'm going to be speaking at a muster in Coleman, which I think is around here. I should figure out where it is before Monday, and I drive there. And we maintain the whole muster roll list, which is this year it's over 2,000 names. And you can see why no muster calls all of the names, because that's going to take 4 hours. But we at the association are going to do a live reading where we just kind of sit around a table, or I think the person now stands at a podium and reads names, and the people in the room answer here, just to make sure that everybody. And we support the student muster with finances. That's people who donate to the association. Part of the money they give goes to student muster. And anyway, just that's what's going on. Muster season at the association starts in November, and that's when it starts for the local muster chairs too. And these are some of the emails that we send out to, if you live in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and we have your email address and your zip code, we sent you an invitation to the Natchitoches Aggies muster at Mama's Blues Room. And I love this. I would go in a heartbeat. That sounds awesome. Um, and so one of the reasons for this project is, so have you been to a campus muster? You're a freshman. Okay, so we're making you miss it because it's at the same time as this. I'm so sorry. But maybe maybe you can go to that one next year. The campus muster is really large and very formal, and all musters have sort of the somber part and the camaraderie part. So because the campus muster is such a large muster, they do the camaraderie part earlier in the day at a barbecue. And I think the barbecue is free and it's somewhere on campus, and you can wander over and I'll double check on that. But and they have the 50-year reunion class at that muster too. So there'd be some old Ags hanging out. They usually get the old yell leaders and the current yell leaders to lead a couple of yells, which is sweet. But the muster itself, in the evening, when everybody goes into Reed Arena, it's very dark, it's very somber. Um, it's like 4 hours long. There's several speeches. The Ross volunteers will get up and fire the three volley rifle salute. The Aggie band plays. The singing cadets sing. Big formal thing. Now, muster is really old. We've been doing things like this. So these local musters down at the bottom, this is the thing we've actually been doing for 100 years, is getting together in little groups off campus, and it's usually kind of fun. But there's a somber part, and I think at the musters I've been to, about half the people that go are there to say here for someone. But the other half of the people there are just local community Aggies and the people who are in the A&M club, and maybe people who are interested in joining the A&M club. So there's usually both a social component and then a speech and a roll call. If it's just two people, we've gotten pictures from like two students we were in Budapest. So we got together in front of this cathedral and we lit a candle and we read one of the poems and we had our own little muster, which I think is adorable and sweet. And that's a muster too. We have so many people graduating and thinking of this big, long, dark, somber muster as what muster is, and it is one muster, absolutely. But then they get out and they may be surprised and maybe even kind of dismayed to find out that these smaller musters are more folksy kind of, and they're actually kind of fun. And so that's what we want to show, because this is something that people don't think of. I've talked about a lot. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but so at the like here at this Robertson County muster, that's just north of where we are. That's just north of Brazos County, and it's on a lakeside, and they grill hamburgers, and then they do a roll call, and we sang the war hymn. But it was most of the time it was just milling around and having burgers with people and talking to them. So the theory behind this Aggie Muster Crew project is if more Aggies knew what to expect, they might go find a local muster because it'll be fun, and you can, like young parents don't know they can probably bring their kids to it because they're thinking of the big ceremony. Or if they are going in order to say here for a family member, they kind of this way they know what to expect. It's like, oh, it's going to be in somebody's backyard, but it's still a muster. They're still going to call your aunt's name, and you may get to hold the candle, in fact, for your aunt and say here. So how do we teach them? And I'm a visual person, and I think photos are the best way to teach people, like, this is what to expect. So we have the association's magazine, we have our social media, we send out emails, and thank you all of these volunteers for taking photos, because it's I think it's super important. This is Texas Aggie Magazine, which is the magazine I write for here. We do a muster issue every year, and we make that issue free online so that everybody can read it, because we want them to go to musters. And we've had, like, this is just one of the inside pages. We've had some very cool gathering photos, and this is what I'm hoping that some of y'all's pictures can go into next April's muster issue, and that we can use them on social media and show people this is what this muster's like. Go to a local muster; they're kind of cool. Most of them follow a program very much like this. This is the Denton County muster from 2019, and I think the Brazos muster will follow. It's a couple hundred people, so it's a little bit bigger than the Denton County muster, but this is a very typical type of thing. The muster chair welcomes everybody. I think the Denton County muster, they had a chicken fried steak buffet catered, um, and people will get up. For a lot of the local clubs, this is their big meeting of the year, so they might elect officers. Um, I think Brazos does theirs on the calendar year, not the muster year, so they won't elect officers, but they might hand out scholarships, or they might do some other business. And then there's these kind of their muster speaker was Colonel Fossum, who's the CEO of the Galveston A&M Galveston campus, and he's also an astronaut. And he's a terrific speaker, and so he spoke. There's not every muster has a speaker, but most of the ones that are 20 people or more do have somebody get up and speak, or at least they'll read some of these poems, and they'll play a recording of Silver Taps, and then they'll close, and the formal closing is usually, thank you all. The muster for 2025 is now complete until we meet again on April 21st, 2026. Um, and so then I just want to go through some of the different types of photos. The muster groups, we love these pictures that show how many were there, but you might not, you don't need to herd everybody. Just take pictures of what's happening. But if there's some aspect that can show what's different about the place you're at, like this is a muster where they stick a sign out on the road so that you know you're on the right dirt road to get to that muster, which I thought was cute. Here in the bottom right corner, for New York, I think they must have staged this and got somebody in another building to take a picture of everybody out on the. You would need the muster chair. I don't think there will be a group photo like this at the Brazos muster, because there will be 150 people there. But anything you can do, mainly what is cool about these is they show the setting, like what was it in. This is the Sydney Opera House. The Aggies in Australia who muster in Sydney always take a picture with the Sydney Opera House in the background. Super fun. And then, like, my crummy picture up here in the corner, this is a hotel ballroom, but I tried to get some palm trees out the window just to show that we're someplace different. You're going to be in a big old ballroom, and it's going to look like a ballroom, so just roll with it. Maybe get a picture of the crowd if you can. There may be little things around the room where there's decor that shows Agginess. This picture on the bottom left, the Houston A&M Club muster is also so big. They have the families check in on the day of, and I'd never seen that before, so I took a picture of the muster family check in. And their local musters they do their candle ceremonies all different, and they may have the candles set up. And, just anything you see that you think looks cool and expresses what's going on. Um, there very well may be something unique or cool that's happening at your muster. Top left here, this is the president of the A&M Club's son was holding the door for everybody, and everybody was kind of talking to him as they went through. The picture with the bugles is the Houston A&M Club. Actually has former students, old people who used to be Silver Taps buglers, and they play Silver Taps live at that muster, which is really cool. Down here in the bottom right, the muster in Gonzales, Texas, they call every Aggie that's ever been on their list. And so if you go to that muster, you go and take a name, you rip off a name, and then that's the name you'll answer here for. So like they read my guy's name and I answered here for an Aggie who was like a pilot in World War One. So they're all different. And there's going to be some Aggie moments and some cool Aggie stuff. Maybe I'm not sure what it'll look. I've been to the Brazos Muster a few times. I'm trying to think of what this will look like. I think they get up and they do sing the war hymn all together. So you could maybe get a photo of everybody swaying, or you could get even a little video clip of it if you have time. Don't worry about getting anything in particular. There's no stress whatsoever. Anything you get will be better than we would have had nothing. So, but like this picture is one that a volunteer took, and it's just super cute with the little Aggie kids sawing them off. And B, it communicates to parents that, yeah, if you have a young kid, you can still go to muster because a lot of the local musters, it's just fine. And down here at bottom left, I love this sign at the Dallas muster. We are the Aggies, the Aggies are we, so grab an open seat wherever it may be, which is just, it's sweet and it's funny and it tells you, it's useful. It tells you sit anywhere. The seats aren't assigned. And then at this muster, they broke out the dominoes. Um, One really good thing to get if you can is something that shows how many Aggies were there. For this picture, top right, I think she got up on like a mezzanine or a balcony or something so she could show the whole group. Just use what's around you. If you can, just like the one on the top left with the candles in front. I just backed up as far as I could in the room just to take it. That's the worst photo on here, and it's one I took. So, but just anything that it's nice for people to see that how many people are there because those it might be like, oh wow, I could actually meet a bunch of people. And let's see. And if you get a chance, the fun parts of muster, there's the smaller musters, there's usually some socializing, some sitting around and talking, and anything that you can catch along those lines would be fine. Um, it's not a bad idea to get a picture of the speaker if you can, although those I took both of these, so I'm going to badmouth these pictures, but getting a photo of the speaker can be really, really boring. Like my photo on the photo where you just see him, not the crowd. I did exactly what it says here. I took a whole bunch of pictures, snap, 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 and then I just chose one where his mouth didn't look dumb, you know? I think people do this with videos. They'll scoot through a video and catch the best frame. But when you do that, it's very low resolution, and that would not print in the magazine. It would print fuzzy in the magazine. Um, this was one muster that I always, this is the Houston muster. And so like on the left, you can see how big the crowd is. It actually looks a little empty at the front because those are people who are lined up on the side of the stage, but you can see it's a big room. You can see who the speaker is, and then I got a shot of his face in case we wanted that. But just play around with it and don't be afraid to walk around the room and get in the way a little bit. Most people are going to be very understanding of why you're there. Um, Light may be difficult when the room goes dark, but just try. Try to get a few pictures of the candle ceremony. Um, the one in the bottom center, that's one I took again. It's not good. Um, But I just took the best one I could. That was inside a civic center where they couldn't have open flames, so everybody was holding little electric candles. It works. It's fine. You may get something really beautiful. A volunteer took this. Actually, this is from the Brazos muster last year, the top left one. And one thing about these is when the people come up or when a name is called and they light their candle. At that point, so okay, these ones where people are lined up against the wall, there's somebody at a microphone reading the name, and then these people light their candle when the name is read. These ones here at a smaller muster, not Brazos will probably do it the first way I said. At a smaller muster, the people would these folks were coming up lighting a candle and saying the name, or somebody was reading the name and then they came up lit again. Anyway, you get the hang of it by watch the first two people do it, and then you know what they're doing. And we try not to, when they do that, the people who are doing this, they're at a moment of real grief. A lot of them are specifically remembering the person that they lost. And so we try to be kind of respectful and try to not show their faces in an identifiable way. But, don't worry about it too much. Take the pictures. If it comes back and it shows somebody's daughter weeping or something, we can just not use that photo. But go ahead and take whatever you see and we'll decide later. But generally, we try to do something to where you can't identify the individual person, just for their privacy and also so that we can use the photo every year and it's not always them. Um, the points we went over before, or I think I put them on the shot list. I put them on the short version. So please don't feel stressed. You're already helping us out by being there. Anything you get will be better than nothing at all. Just don't worry about it. Um, there are a lot, you probably won't be asked to help with other things because there's a lot of volunteers at the Brazos Muster, but just don't, if somebody says, oh, here, can you do this? Say, I'm really sorry, but I have to focus on pictures. Because it's really common if you go to a local muster and they'll be like, you just want to dive in. You want to start helping take down chairs, or they may be like, oh, we need somebody to stand here and hold this door open. That's why we don't get pictures of the local musters, is because the muster chair was like, oh yeah, I'll take a couple pictures, and then she gets really busy and she can't take pictures. So this is what you are here to solve. So be friendly. Point number 3, that said, you're still an Aggie and you're going to meet some nice folks. So feel free to be friendly. But just say, oh, I'm so sorry. I can be the bad guy. You can be like, well, Sue's going to be mad if I don't get any pictures, so I better go, Um, and then 4, the general tips, like we said, getting up high can show an interesting angle if there's any place. You may not be able to. Sometimes there's like a little brick wall or something you can climb at, and yet who knows? Just look at the room you've got. Sometimes I just hold my camera up, my phone up, and just try to take a picture because I'm 5 foot tall, and anything is taller than that. Um, if anyone if you get a picture of that focuses on 1 or 2 people, try to get their names, but it's okay if you don't. One quick way to do it, if you talk to somebody and they're interesting, shoot a picture of them that has their name tag in it, and we can maybe figure out what their name is from that. And you can just go snap, snap, and you don't have to write anything down. After muster, I'll ask all y'all to just send me a description. Like, what was it like? Just tell me what was being in the room like. Did anything surprise you? Was there anything, just like you would tell a friend about it? Literally like, oh yeah, it was like this. And one of those pictures back in the other slides was they were on a battleship, and you can't tell because it's like in their big hangar or something, but it was on a battleship and it was really cool. Or I drove to this town in Poteet, Texas, and we all had barbecue. Whatever it is, just I'll ask for your thoughts and impressions about the muster. And anything that surprised you, and like anything that you thought really stood out about it. And that's basically everything that I wanted to present. I did do slides too of the uploading photos, and you've tried all of yeah. And then if you upload photos, and they have this little orange, or sorry, red arrow thing. You have to open this menu. This menu is really, really tall, so you have to scroll all the way down to the more at the bottom, and then it'll get you to check in. And once you check it in, that little red dot disappears, and then I can see the photos. So, and we'll go over it again, but mainly I want to stick with thank you, because this is really cool that you're doing this. All right, that was a lot of me talking. Is there any questions that you have?
I was just wondering what would be appropriate to wear. Like, is it more formal or
Yours is a little bit formal.
oh,
I think just it's not dressy dressy.
oh,
Go ahead.
oh
Did you
no,
have
I
something in mind?
no.
I think most people will be wearing like maybe clothes that you would wear business attire, or
Okay,
maybe a little nicer. Some of the men will have a suit jacket on or a sports coat on. Some of them will be in just a button-down shirt. The women will be all over the place. Some probably there'll be a lot of maroon tops and then a skirt or pants, something like that.
okay,
Um, but just some people will be in dresses, but not many, you know. So I think anything that you would wear to work is
okay.
respectful enough and just fine. And it's a really good thing to ask because, like you saw, all the musters are kind of different. So anything? What else? Any other thoughts?
No, that was all my questions. I had looked through the slides of the kind of pictures you were wanting before we met, so
Ah, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to this. We're almost there.
yes.
Yeah, and I will send out my cell phone so that if anybody has any questions, like while they're getting there or while they're there, I'm actually speaking at the muster in Coleman, so I'm going to there'll be part of the evening where I can't get on my phone, but I will send out my cell number, and if you have any questions at all as you're getting closer. So you know how to drive there,
Yeah.
you know where it is, you know what time it is, and I'm going to
Yeah.
send an email connecting you to your muster chair. So,
Okay.
all right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Anything
much.
else?
I did have one more question.
Please.
Do you know how the itinerary will work? Because like if there's camaraderie time before the actual muster or after the ceremony, would it be best to like show up prior?
I would show up at the start of the muster so that you can
Okay.
capture everything. And here, it's really the meal time that's the people are milling around and talking.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would definitely try to show and if you can stay as long as you can, but and also if you have a conflict or something, show up when you can. But if you just have all the time in the world, please show up at the start and
Yes.
stay till the end. But if you have any, like especially if you have any kind of school conflict or anything like that, school's more important. So and the roll call will be the last thing, and then they'll play some music, and that's when the Brazos muster will definitely they'll saw them off. They may not do I think they do the yells. I think they did the yells. That's all. Like here on this one, they specify we're going to sing the Spirit of Aggieland, but don't do the yells at the end. I think Brazos does it. So, anything else as you're thinking through it? Those are great questions. Thank you so
No,
much.
those are all my questions.
All right. Well, and thank you for letting me record this. I'll put a link to this to send out to the other people who weren't able to make the meeting because I forgot to hit record the last time. So I appreciate you being the guinea pig here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. You too. I appreciate you so much. And it's next week. Whoop.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.